Hey folks, Fernando doing our video for the Modern Survivalist, and today we're going to be going through how to put together a proper, well thought out bug out bag. Now I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube, some of them are better than others. To be completely honest, many of them don't seem like that well thought out. Some seem like a bunch of random camping stuff with a couple of guns here and there, but there's a logic to it, at least there should be, and a lot of this stuff I'm going to be going through in this video. I've listed already in Street Survival Skills, my latest book, where I talk about home survival kits, some of the stuff you should have organized in your home, your kit in your vehicle, your bug out bag, your EDC gear as well, which is the stuff that we talked about in the previous video if you haven't checked that out. But none of this is really all that revolutionary. I was already writing about this like 6 years ago when I wrote this art book, Bugging Out and Relocating, specifically about bugging out. And the stuff pretty similar in one of the previous videos, and this is why I'm mentioning this. In one of my previous videos, someone said, this is because of the virus and crap. No, it's not because of that. It may seem like that because when you do things properly, methodically, covering your bases, knowing which those are, it seems like you are talking ahead of time and knowing about things that ended up happening. It's really not like that. This book is over 6 years old, and I was already talking about why is it, and so as to show that I'm not making any of this up. Here's a picture with a respirator, the gloves, and I was explaining 3 N95 collapsible respirators, an often overlooked item. The respirator allows you to breathe when there are dust particles in the air. It can also be used during pandemic outbreaks. The collapsible models are more practical and to carry, and so on and so on. The thing is this, guys, air is a priority for survival. Based on the rules of 3, which says you cannot survive 3 minutes without air, air is a big deal. And if you think that a little virus is a big deal, just think about not being able to get a single mouthful of breathable air because of dust, because of ash, because of volcanic ash in the air, or because of a fire nearby, like it happens to so many people recently in Australia. When those are the cases you're dealing with, you barely manage to grab your bag. One of the first things you want to have accessible there is going to be a respirator, so as to be able to actually breathe. Imagine there's a house fire and you're barely able to breathe. You manage to get your bag, you put on your respirator so as to somehow breathe a little bit better. Maybe you need some first aid, so you have some of those first aid kit material accessible in some of those bags. So that's kind of the logic you're looking at. Also keep in mind the following: a bug out bag is basically a kit designed to get you from point A to point B. That is it. That is all it's supposed to do. And this is very personal because it will depend on where you live, the geography, the climate, the plan that you have. This has to go along with a specific plan. Your plan should be, okay, I cannot stay here anymore. This house, this workplace where I'm staying, this job site, wherever it is that you are, something happened, compromise your safety in that place. You have to get to somewhere else. Your bug out location, plan B, whatever you want to call it, is that other place that is not the one which you are in right now. So you need to execute that plan, and you need certain equipment so as to do so. It may be walking 20 miles across, a forested area, or just a few blocks down the road in your city, or it may be 100 miles away across the desert, yourself and your family, or it may be leaving the country entirely. All of these things will require different type of kits. So that's why it's kind of impossible to nail it down with, yeah, these are the things you need. Boom, that's it. No. There's some basics that I'm going to be going through right now, and these mostly work for most kits that you would be putting together because they are essentials. But the specifics, you will have to understand that those yourself, understand what it applies to your own specific scenario and the plan you have to go along with it. Now, having said all that, let's get to it. First thing is having a proper bag, and the bag could be something more militaristic looking, right? Something like what you have there on the right, or something more gray man like that Wenger black bag, which is, Usually I prefer to get lost in the crowd, look like just any other schmuck with nothing worth of value. These days, the military MOLLE type bags are very popular, and I don't think they attract nearly as much attention as they did some time ago. Of course, if you combine those with a gun, whatever it is that you have, it's going to be attracting more attention, and we're going to be getting that later on. But deciding what bag you need will depend. One of the things that I was mentioning before is sometimes you see these bug out bag videos where a guy has a 90-liter backpacking bag full of crap. Maybe they end up needing that. I mean, if you live in a cabin in the middle of nowhere in Alaska and part of you bugging out means you have to walk in the middle of winter 60, 70 miles to the nearest town, well, yeah, that may well be. You need a big bag with a pile of winter gear, and it's going to be different. Usually if there's something more of a, it's just about getting 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles to my nearest friend, my nearest family member, someone that I know I can count on, then it's going to be looking a little bit lighter and not so heavy. So first thing to have in a bag is water, and this is one of the things I see many videos where they're lacking. They either have these empty, or they have a filter, or they have something else, but they don't have the actual water. You need the actual water. How much water you need will depend on the plan you're expecting to execute. Are you walking 100 miles across the desert? Are you walking 5 miles down the road to your grandma's house? Wherever it is, it's going to be changing. But water, you definitely need some. It may be even about washing your face after an accident. Maybe you're bloody, you have dirt or dust in your face. Water is crucial. You should have some of it. A water filter. That's a HydroBlue VersaFlow. Sure, there's the Sawyer filters. There's a bunch of different filters. A good, reliable water filter, it has to be in your kit. And some water purification tablets, that makes sense. What you don't need a lot of is food. And I see some of these kits going with a lot of food. Usually, I mean, if you're going to be walking for maybe a day or two, food is not nearly as much of a priority. If you're going to be walking for a couple of days, at the most, some energy bars, those are emergency food rations. Those last like 20 years expiration date, and yeah, they taste kind of like crap, but it's food. It's going to be keeping you alive. It's not that you're going to be dying, starving to death in a couple days, but at least you have something in your stomach. Then some dextro emergency energy tablets. That's basically sugar. Dextrose goes straight into your blood system. It lasts a pile of years as well. Pretty simple, but something sweet to put in your system. You know, it's also the wallet, and this is the analysis that you should be doing with these kits. Where am I likely to need a bug out bag? Something happened in the middle of the night. My house is burning down. I wake up naked because that's the way I sleep. And you grab your bag and you leave. You're butt naked and you don't even have shoes, and your house just burned to the ground. You're going to be wanting a pair of boots, shoes. You're going to be wanting some cash. You know, a wallet with some cash, with a few coins, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe you didn't even get to grab your wallet and your cell phone. So one of your old cell phones, throw it there in the kit. Even if it has an old SIM card, at least it's better than nothing. Even better if you have a proper working SIM card, that would be ideal. That would make a lot more sense. But have a spare cell phone. One of your old ones will do just as well. But the wallet, some money, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Some clothes. That black bag there with a Ziploc is just to have a spare change of clothes. Something happened that you're dirty, wet, your clothes are bloody after an accident, or you don't have any because you just left the house just a few seconds. You have a spare set of clothes. That is basic for me. It's just a t-shirt, shorts, underwear, and socks. That's it. I don't need more than that. If I lived in a different climate, maybe I should. And that's one of those turtleneck things, like, I don't know what's called, like one of those things that stretch and you put it around your neck or your head. One of those bandana tube neck things. Pretty versatile. I learned to appreciate those while skiing. So, and they work for summer as well. That's a good addition. Shoes, you need to have proper shoes in case you don't have any. A first aid kit, self-explanatory. That yellow thing, it's one of these gadgets, flashlight, radio, solar panel, battery bank thing. Doesn't work all that great, but if you have enough time, yeah, you can eventually charge the battery. It's going to be taking a pretty long time. Most of all, I like that it also has a hand crank, and you can use the flashlight a little bit, and the radio, which is a source of information. The radio, you may have it in some cell phones as well, and those may need those headphones so as to actually work as an antenna and listen to it. Cable so as to recharge either with that or with that cardboard box, which has a proper solar panel. As you see, I have a little charger for batteries, and I have some rechargeable ones here. One of the more common things you see in people that are refugees or lost everything or whatever happened, they don't have anything to charge their appliances. Maybe they grab their cell phone, they don't have anywhere to charge it. Well, with a solar panel like that one, even in a cloudy day, you're going to be charging your devices pretty fast. That's pretty neat. A map, sure, you need one. The compass is somewhere there, lost behind something. A little notebook with a pencil. Those, yes, you definitely need those. Flashlights. I have a nicer, bigger flashlight here, a smaller one that works also as a headlamp, and a multi-tool. Multi-tool, for me, it is crucial. I always want to have a multi-tool. That's one of the more affordable Leathermans. I think it's the Sidekick. Still a great multi-tool. What else? Some paracord makes a ton of sense. Same as some tape, like the flat roll that I have over there. In terms of starting fires, at least 3 means of starting fire. Some matches in a nice, solid, plastic case, a lighter, and a fire steel. These 3, and this one has also a little compass there. That's kind of crappy, but the bigger one is, besides some of those stuff, maybe in the bag still, a fishing kit and a small survival kit, one of these Altoid kits with a pile of different things in there. This is the fishing kit from my friend from rulethewasteland.com and Rule the Wasteland YouTube channel. Eric, great kit. He's selling those as well. As I said before, the respirator, and in that plastic case there, this goes organized in the different pockets, so it will be just like your first aid kit and the respirator. That box is going to be easily accessible because that has the gloves, the latex gloves, one of these cold packs, a tourniquet, and Celox gauze so as to stop bleeding. The kind of thing that you want to get to in a second, very fast. Wet wipes to wash your hands, your face, or whatever needs to be washed, your armpits and so on, and a knife. Here, a good knife for a bug out bag. It will depend on your location and the kind of plan you have in mind. A solid bug out bag knife would be a Glock knife. This is a fantastic knife in general. This would be a good way of having a solid lightweight knife, and maybe a nicer, maybe a little bit of a closer look there. So either a Glock knife like this one, a solid choice always Glock, or the serrated version. Well, not the back saw. This one would be maybe even better because you have the saw, which is not great, but it does work. Or if you want something nicer, probably I would go with, as a good bug out bag knife, the Acorn FK Field Knife 2000. Made in Germany. Man, solid, lightweight, but solid, sturdy knife. And you can use it as a wire cutter, which may be a nice addition in a bug out bag. So yeah, this would be like a fancier knife, but man, sweet knife. Or if I'm looking for a bigger knife, I could go with, and something still affordable, Cold Steel Bowie Machete. This is a ton of knife for very little money. You can buy several and have in your different kits. You sharpen it properly because it comes with a crappy edge, but once you put a little bit of love in there, you get a scalp of a sharp blade, very sharp. And you can chop wood with it. It's a nice big blade, could be used for defense as well. man, this is a solid choice for a bug out bag knife. If you want to get a little bit more fancy than this, you have other knives as well. You have the BK9 and such. I happen to like this one quite a bit. This is my Bussy Bushwhacker Mistress Infi Steel. And yeah, this is a beautiful, nice blade. If I needed a big knife for a bug out bag, and I could afford one of these, this would be one of the nicer choices, right? But you have, of course, a pile of different good knives for reasonable money. What else? Some Kleenex. I will cover that as well, I think. And basically, that's mostly it. One of the things that you definitely want to keep in mind is lots of these things you've probably seen in a pile of different videos. Completely honest, maybe one of the more important things to have is that little bag over there, which is your documents bag. This is something that I went over in my book, Bugging Out and Relocating. What is a documents bag or very important papers bag? It's basically a bag that you keep in a safe or some other safe place, ideally a safe, an actual safe, so that it's not stolen or robbed. Even better if it's a fireproof safe and waterproof safe, that would be ideal. That's exactly what you want. But something small that you can grab and go if you cannot take anything else. What you're going to be keeping in there is your passports, your important documents, birth certificates, anything that's crucial, paperwork that you just wouldn't want to leave behind, you keep it there. Any emergency cash that you have, spare keys for your house and your car, a USB drive with important files and pictures and documents they want to keep. All of that stuff, maybe even some little heirloom of some kind, jewelry, your grandmother's wedding ring, whatever it is. Something but small and compact, you keep it in there. Could be for someone having a gun in there as well, may as well be. But the idea is it has to be small and it has to keep these essentials that if you cannot have with you anything else, because you just had to leave in just a few seconds, maybe you had to drag a loved one, your wife, one of your kids, whatever, and you could just take none of this crap, you take this one. If this is the only thing you can take, you take that bag with those papers, those essential things you just don't want to be without, and the cash and that gold that you may have or other valuables. That's something that I don't see as often addressed in these videos. Is you don't have a one solution fits all scenarios. These scenarios may change. You may have a couple of days to leave, you may have a couple hours to leave, or you may have to wake up and just have a few seconds before everything goes to hell around you. Finally, in terms of, yes, means of defending and protecting yourself, that makes a lot of sense, and it will change from location, whatever your country is, what's legally allowed or not. At the very least, throw in there Saber red spray, something like this, or a larger can. That would make more sense. But some pepper spray, if you cannot have anything else, sure. A knife, you already have a knife that could be used for defense as well. And if you can have something a little bit better, a little bit bigger, or if you can have a proper firearm, I would at least try to have a handgun, a Glock. Throw in there a Glock pistol or a revolver. That makes quite a bit of sense. You could have one of the collapsible breakdown carbines like that Marlin Papoose. That's a great gun for a bug out bag, especially if it's more of a wilderness oriented, having a semi-automatic 22. And if not, sure, a rifle or a shotgun as well. That's an AR, a Colt M4 with a little aim point there. Battery lasts several years turned on. Put a flashlight in it. Now, the thing is this. Sometimes you're just better off being the gray man, being the guy with a normal backpack and maybe a gun hiding in there, and that's it. As it happened in Katrina, guys tried to get on boats that were taking people that were being rescued from the flood, and many times they were told, no, you're not bringing a gun in here. Oh, but hey, my AR, yes, you have to leave it behind. If not, you cannot come on board. And you would have to leave it behind. This, you could have hidden and say, do you have any weapons? No, I don't have anything, sir. Okay, I forgot about it. Yeah, it was there. Whatever. But you leave that hidden, out of sight, out of mind, that's always a good idea. Of course, a shotgun could be a good option too. Mossberg 500, 5 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. It's a solid gun. If you live maybe out in the sticks, in the woods, and you're mostly worried about, sure, I have to trek across a wooded area in the middle of the night, I want something to protect myself, that is pretty much a good way to go with slugs or buckshot. For self-defense as well, I mean, man, you do have a gun. It's a decent firearm, a pump-action shotgun. A little bit more heavy in terms of the ammunition. If you're going to be having something like that, you see lots of kits that have either vests or ammo grab bags like that with several magazines. It depends on what you need. Maybe this is part of the layering as well. You have the smaller bag, you have the proper bug-out bag, and you have your battle loadout, or whatever it is you want to call it, with more magazines and all that stuff. And if you can, you carry all of this, you take all of this. If not, you just grab what you need, and you have those different options to choose from depending on what you're looking at. So yeah, this is basically what I would be looking for. It depends, again, if you live in Finland and you're looking to have to trek across the frozen wasteland, you will have a pile of winter gear. You will have maybe something so as to have hot beverages to prepare, and food may be more a priority for you. For most people, it's going to be having a little bit of water. That's going to be the big thing, not having a pile of camping gear. One of the things I do, because these are all different kits that I'm always working on changing, adapting, depending on what I need. You have your car kit, you have your kit in your home, you have your bug-out bag. One of the things I have, besides having a everyday carry bag that I don't carry every day, but if I happen to be needing it at that specific moment because I'm gonna be walking that day a bit more, sure. If not, if I'm driving around, I have this stuff in my car. That's also part of the kit. This is a little bag that I throw in some of my bags. If I need, for example, my EDC bag plus a little extra because I'm gonna be maybe away a couple days and I don't want to have a proper larger kit. This is a way of boosting, doing a +1 or plus a few more to whatever kit luggage I'm taking. And this is basically, again, priorities: being able to breathe. A respirator is going to be in there. Then, you know, some form of shelter, emergency blanket, a poncho, that sort of thing. A little bit of first aid stuff, a little bit of Kevlar thread, and a bunch of little odds and ends in there. But basically a small survival pouch kit, right? So as to boost anything else that I'm taking that day. Guys, that's it. It's just a matter of common sense. And again, it's going to be about the plan you have. Being completely honest, when things really go to shit, most likely that's the bag that you're going to be thinking about the most. The one where you have those documents, the one where you have the cash when things are going seriously bad. That is likely to be the one that you grab. I'm thinking about the guy in Ukraine. I'm thinking about all those folks that left Venezuela when it went to crap. Thinking about the guys that left South Africa. They weren't taking any of this stuff. They probably sold their guns like I did when I left. In fact, this is the bag that I took when I left myself, and I actually have, I found this right now, old Argentine cash in there. Just realized it was in there. So yeah, there's a good chance that if things go to crap, go to hell bad, some of this stuff may not be used. Sometimes that may be the only thing that you're taking with you. You just want your passports, you just want your cash and your important documents and the plane ticket to get the hell out of there. That may well be. It may be that something else happens and your house is burning down and you want that kit because you want those shoes and their clothes in there and means of protecting yourself if something else has gone down, social unrest, civil unrest, whatever. So guys, that's basically it, really. I'm just trying not to forget anything, and I'm still forgetting that little box with a gun cleaning kit, but that's it. Just common sense. Have a kit that works along with a plan that you have in mind. That is the key about all of this stuff. Okay guys, see you in the next video, folks. Have an awesome day.